Have you ever heard of the Fibonacci sequence? It's a sequence of numbers that can be found everywhere in the world around us. In the words of an elementary school textbook I found on the internet, if you were to observe the way that a plant grows new leaves, stems, and petals, you would notice that it grows in a pattern following the Fibonacci sequence. Things just follow a pattern in nature. Similarly, there are a lot of patterns that have arisen in the Big Brother house that continue to be followed despite any sort of reasoning. Whether it's just a coincidence or if there is some deeper magic at play that I just don't understand. Today, we are going to go over all of the different odd patterns that have happened throughout Big Brother's history.
When Boogie came in second to Kent, Boogie was voted out that week. When Shannon came in second to Hardy, Shannon was voted out that week. Time and time again, it's been shown that if you do pretty well at the HOH competitions but don't win, you get ousted.
So you may have heard of the first in curse. You know, the curse that states that whichever player walks into the Big Brother house first is destined to lose the game. And the proof is in the pudding. No player that has ever walked into the house first has won that season. But did you know that no player who has entered 4th or 7th has won the game either? Probably not, because who keeps track of houseguest number 7? Well, one person did. Thank you, pesky muggles, for your Reddit post. So, I hope you aren't rooting for Kyle, Monty, or Alyssa this season, as they walked in the house 1st, 4th, and 7th respectively. Up until a couple years ago too, nobody who entered 3rd or 14th had won either, but Xavier and Cody ended those patterns.
Oh my god.
One pattern many may have known to have been broken recently was the OTEV curse. Nobody who had won the OTEV veto comp had gone on to win that season up until Cody in Big Brother 22. But that doesn't mean that there aren't other competition patterns we can't look at. For starters, no player that has ever won the hide and go veto comp has gone on to win the game either, which is pretty odd in my opinion.
You're coming with me, and you're gonna cover up my little dossier.
Also, no player has won both the OTEV comp and the Zingbot comp in the same season, which I also find particularly interesting, because you'd think that would have happened by now.
Still don't like you, Zingbot.
As some of you may remember, a couple weeks ago I made a video about how the Week 2 HOH winner has never gone on to win the game. Pretty strange as it is, but did you know that nobody who has won the Week 2 veto has gone on to win the game either? Something about that Week 2 is cursed 1000%. Also, to continue on with this streak, nobody who has won the Week 5 HOH has won the game either, which is a really strange pattern. Fun fact, had Paul gotten just one more vote to win Big Brother 19, they could have ended all of these patterns, as they won the Week 2 HOH, the Week 2 veto, and the Week 5 HOH. Crazy stuff.
Congratulations, Howie. You are the new head of household. Maggie, please give Howie the key to your HOH bedroom.
Speaking of HOHs, many times in Big Brother history has an HOH also gone on to win the veto. But of course, a pattern has arisen. 16 times an HOH has won the veto and decided to take down one of their initial nominees. And you guessed it, all 16 times that player went on to lose the season. These patterns are pretty cursed so far, so to play it safe, if you're the HOH and win the veto, it's best to not continue the pattern and to just leave your nominations the same.
I've decided to use the power of veto to save you, Dan.
And this is that shot, so Shane, I'm sorry I have to evict you.
Now, finally, a pattern that has nothing to do with someone doing something and not winning the season. But it still has to do with the winners. You see, since Big Brother 4, the winner of every season has been following a set pattern based on gender. Now, the pattern is a bit long, but it's really weird that this pattern is on its 3rd cycle. The pattern is one female winner, then one male winner, then one female winner, then 4 male winners in a row. That cycle has since repeated and is nearing its completion of its 3rd cycle. Just to demonstrate this to you, check it out. In Big Brother 4, we had a female winner in June, who was followed by a male winner in Drew, who was followed by a female winner in Maggie, who was then followed by 4 male winners in a row. Boogie, Dick, Adam, then Dan. Then the cycle repeats. Jordan, Hayden, Rachel, then Ian, Andy, Derek, and Steve. And once more, Nicole, Josh, Casey, then Jackson, Cody, and Xavier, meaning we have one more to go. If Big Brother 24 produces a male winner, then the 3rd cycle will be fully completed and the pattern will be primed for a reset. However, if Big Brother 24 gives us a female winner, the pattern will finally be broken. Pretty interesting stuff, but unfortunately, as a byproduct of this, it also means that there's not been back-to-back female winners since all the way back in Big Brother 4 when the pattern began, with Lisa winning Big Brother 3 and then June winning Big Brother 4. Now, this is a season-specific pattern that I found very interesting. In Big Brother 17, starting from the final 8, the player that won the veto would be evicted the following week all the way until the end of the game. James won the final 8 veto and was evicted in 7th. Julia won the final 7 veto and was evicted in 6th. Austin won the final 6 veto and was evicted in 5th. Johnny Mac won the final 5 veto and was evicted in 4th. And Vanessa won the final veto of the summer at the final 4 and was evicted in 3rd.
Congratulations, James!
James, you are evicted. Congratulations goes to Julia. Julia, you are evicted.
Congratulations, Austin!
It's official. Austin,
I'm sorry, Ben.
you are
I'm
evicted.
sorry. Congratulations, John.
John, for the second time, you have been evicted.
Congratulations, Vanessa. You have won the final veto.
It's official, Vanessa. You are the last person to be evicted.
Now, this isn't really a pattern at all, but just something that I love. In the final HOH of Big Brother 17, Steve answered every question following a set pattern, just answering A. Steve answered all 8 questions with A, and he won.
Answers, please. Answers, please. I need an answer. Answers, please. Answers, please. Answers, please. Congratulations, Steve.
Speaking of the final HOH, there was a pattern on the winner of the season winning a specific part of the final HOH. For a very long stretch of time, the winner of part 2 of the final HOH would go on to win the season. Ian, Andy, Derek, Steve, Nicole, Josh, and Casey all lost part 1, had to win part 2 to advance, and they ended up winning the season.
It's okay, Andy.
Now, I am definitely not sure why this is, but no female winner of Big Brother US has ever won the Final 4 HOH. Similarly, all of the female winners have been nominated at the Final 4 with the exception of Casey, who coincidentally is also the only female winner to win the final veto. Sticking with the Final 4 HOH thing, there is without a doubt a cursed pattern within this. Women simply aren't allowed to win the Final 4 HOH, and the only women to ever beat a man in the Final 4 HOH are Monica Bailey, Danielle Murphy, and Nicole Anthony. All 3 of them were immediately evicted afterwards in 3rd place.
Wait, are you guys serious?
You just won.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Are you guys serious?
In regards to the final veto, for whatever reason, there was a curse pattern associated with it in the early days. From Big Brother 4 through Big Brother 10, the winner of the Final 4 veto was a death sentence if you wanted to win the game, and a pattern arose as each final veto winner ended up being the runner-up of the season every single time, with the only exception being Janelle in Big Brother All-Stars. Another pattern that arose from the final veto is that from Big Brother 3 all the way up until Big Brother 20, any player that wasn't already safe at the Final 4 that ended up winning the final veto would not win the game. That may have sounded confusing, but what I mean by that is that no player that wasn't already the Final 4 HOH went on to win the final veto and win the season. Up until Big Brother 20, only Hayden and Andy won the final veto and won the game, but they were both the Final 4 HOH, and every other winner of the Final 4 veto lost the game.
It felt like a big fat bird had pooped on my head when Allison won. Allie beat me by 1 name, and I am going to kick myself in the butt for the rest of the summer for that.
Kind of a little bit of a shout out to my last video. Any season that has featured a pre-existing relationship in the house has had somebody in the final 2 be a part of a pre-existing relationship. This next pattern actually makes a little bit of sense. There was a stretch of 5 seasons in a row where the final juror voted for the losing finalist. Vanessa, James, Christmas, JC, and Nicole Anthony all voted for the eventual runner-up to win.
Vanessa has cast her vote for Liz. James has cast his vote for Paul. Christmas cast her vote for Paul. JC has cast his vote for Tyler. Nicole has cast her vote for Holly.
Speaking of which, maybe it's because their feelings are still raw when voting for the winner, but when you exclude unanimous jury votes, the final juror has voted incorrectly just as many times as they have voted for the correct person to win. And lastly, this is not necessarily a pattern, but it kind of is, so I'm including it. Some people, including myself, think that really young people often don't do too well in the Big Brother house because of their age, and if they waited a few years to mature, that they would do so much better. However, out of the 23 winners of the show, 10 of them have been either the youngest or second youngest player on their cast. That's crazy. I'm gonna include Big Brother 1 on this, so sue me. Eddie, Ian, Steve, and Nicole were all the youngest on their cast when they won, and Will, Drew, Dan, Jordan, Hayden, and Josh were all the second youngest on their cast when they won.
Paul and Josh.
And there we go. Some of these patterns are pretty well known, especially some of the competition ones, but some of the other ones I had no clue about before the video, and I find that pretty wild. At the end of the day, there's likely no real rhyme or reason behind these patterns and are the result of numerous coincidences, but the fact that some of these have happened over and over and over again really make you think. Who knows, maybe there is a higher power that just has a good laugh while bestowing a curse to whomever walks through the front door first. If it continues on, it might just be the only thing that makes sense. Thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing if you're new here. We're uploading 2 videos a week for the summer while Big Brother 24 is on. Of course, I need to give that extra special shout out to all of my YouTube members who continue to support me day in and day out. The only strange pattern that I see is that all of my YouTube members are absolute 10 out of 10s. And as always, here's a clip for you on your way out.
I've nominated you, Angela, and you, Tyler. First of all, Angela, you get the HOH. You didn't even make me feel included. You just like throw me there as a pawn. You're just being a bitch to me. That was a very, very, very bitchy move. This nomination ceremony, it's adjourned.